Hey everyone, and welcome back to Week 8 of the North American League of Legends Championship Series. It's time for our first match of the day, Team Dignitas versus Cloud9. Now coming into this game, Cloud9 is just one win away from guaranteeing themselves a first-round bye in the regional playoffs in just about a month. And while High and crew have been dominating all summer, last week's performance might have just been their best week ever.
Yeah, and Cloud9's been playing the same type of game for a while now. They have the fast push strategy with a very stable yet large roster of champions, but they're not changing up their game. And last week, their average game time actually came in at 30 minutes, whereas their average game time for the season is about 36 minutes. So they're improving this style throughout the weeks. Additionally, they also had their highest team KDA for any week of the season. So the strategy is being refined, and they actually seem to be getting better and better.
And of course, you got to point out some of the individual members getting better as well. You got the high team KDA, but you've got to talk about Meteos, who had the highest one-week KDA for any player in North American history.
Yeah, and we see this all across the junglers in North America. Their individual KDA is a reflection of the team's success. And since Cloud9 is doing so well, Meteos' stats are just fantastic. Also, because of the way he plays, where he farms a lot more than the other junglers, in the late game fights, he also has tankier items, so he's sneakily hard to kill.
And of course, speaking of sneakiness, you got to give props, of course, to the performances of the MVP last week, right? Cloud9's AD carry was on point. He froze enemy after enemy in their tracks, and I mean, right, he deserved it. He won the MVP award.
Yeah, exactly. And his main AD carry right now is obviously Ashe. The way he was controlling the map last week with the Ashe arrows, just anytime a team was split up, he would just find them and crush them down. So, like we said earlier, he's going to keep playing Ashe until teams find a way to get it out of his hands.
So why don't they just ban it away then?
That's the thing that people keep saying about Cloud9 is to just ban them out. But that's why you can't, because you ban out Ashe, so you're going to let through Rumble, Jace, TF, Zac, Elise, Thresh, Kennen. These are all the most banned champions for Cloud9. They have to find ways of either taking the champions away or finding organic counters in the game to stop them, because you can't just use your 3 bans on 12 champions.
I don't think it works that way, Jat.
Math.
Math is hard, but in this case, it's going to be held up here. So Sneaky and Cloud9 have used consistent champion selections and high-pressure tactics to define themselves as the best team in North America. Now, Scar and Dignitas, they're still trying to find an identity for themselves.
Exactly. Dig's been struggling all summer, and last week they went to some unconventional picks to kind of turn the split around. They tried that reset comp against CLG where they never got resets because they never got anyone low. That fell apart. And then later, Kiwi Kid went with Aatrox to just mix up his champion pool. That actually had mixed results. One terrible game, one fantastic game. So I think he'll continue that this week.
And we'll see what, of course, happens this time, because Dignitas and the Kiwi Kid, they've got their 3rd showdown of the summer against Cloud9, but they're still looking for their first win against this team. So, as we get ourselves into the game, let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side is Team Dignitas. Kiwi Kid, we talked about him in the top lane, Crumbs in jungle, Skara in mid, I'm a Cutie Pie on AD carry, and Patoy in support.
And on the red side, we have Cloud9 with Balls in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle, High in mid, Sneaky on probably Ashe, but AD carry, and then Lemon Nation on support.
And it's interesting because he's been playing Ashe so much. I know we had the troll graphic back in the spring split where Edward was the support carry and then Genja was the AD
counter to Zed on the split push side. Sneaky does more with less than a lot of the other AD carries do in the LCS, and it's because he picks the high utility things that work with Cloud9's overall team play style.
Now here we go, guys. Of course, we are into the game, and we'll see what kind of utility gets brought up and banned away. The Rumble ban, another really popular one. The Sona dropped away for Patoy. And so here's the 3 of 12 bans for Dignitas. They've picked one so far with the Rumble. We'll see what the other 2 end up being.
They went with the most popular one of the bunch because of the 20 games Cloud9's played, 10 Rumble bans against them. Also, here's another did you know, there was only 1 Nasus ban against Cloud9 this entire year, even though it's their most played champion.
Wow, and actually they're leaving up the Zac that was, I think, their most banned jungler, and they did ban the Ashe out. So they're leaving a lot of things open here for Cloud9 that a lot of teams typically ban away from them. This will be interesting to see how they set this up. Of course, the Master Yi banned away. You heard Scar's interview say, yeah, they keep banning away our team comps. So the Master Yi comp not allowed, nor is the Rise.
And I like actually here the opportunity Dignitas has for themselves and what they've created. So they get the first pick Elise, which is something the Kiwi Kid will be comfortable on. Additionally, for Dignitas, Lee Sin is Crumbs' most played jungler, and he wants to pick that as well. But then to get even farther back to our earlier discussion, this is going to mean Cloud9 plays something a little different. Because if they don't ban the most banned champions against Cloud9, even though they're banned for a reason, you're at least making them do something different than they did in previous weeks, which I think gives Dignitas a slight edge.
And it's interesting, too, because these guys actually share a bit of a champion pool. The Zed and Fiddlesticks on Dignitas. Certainly we've seen Fiddle a fair bit as support. Yeah. We've seen Nintendo jungle it. But with Jarvan in there, that's the support Fiddle for Patoy, I'm guessing.
This is not something we've seen very much of from Dig.
No.
And I wonder what they're going to end up laning with the Fiddlesticks. I'd expect a Caitlyn later coming out from Dignitas, just because the ranged harass/safety that lane provides, as well as its 2v1 split, like laning and split push potential, is very high. And it's, again, just mixing things up against Cloud9, which is something I feel like Cloud9 actually needs to do more of, and Dignitas is doing it to them.
Well, here we go. Then Cloud9's going to have to make some adaptations. And if Dignitas happen to hide this strategy for them in their scrimmages, right? They said, yeah, they're one of our big scrim partners, but as long as you keep...
From Cloud9, Shen in the top lane is not something we've seen balls on very much, if at all.
Yeah.
And then Twitch is what a lot of the main Draven players swapped over to once Draven lost his, or at least got a different passive in the 3.9 patch. So we should see that very aggressive lane sneaky with, I would actually guess Thresh is going to be Cloud9's last pick, and then Ninja's on the rest of the map.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of damage output here. It's interesting, actually, that Thresh has gotten so far through the champion pool as well, that, like, no one's been rushing to grab that one up right here. So now with part of the bottom lane known right here, knowing that Twitch can scale one to late game, can also bully a little bit as well, it's QtPie's turn to make some choices on his AD carry. He said his favorite is Graves in his blog earlier this week, and he might just be going back to Comfort.
And this is Dignitas' chance here. Scar knows his lane matchups. He's been playing a lot of Caston lately, and then there's a lot of Graves as well for QtPie, as you mentioned. This is actually a pretty successful pick ban phase for Dignitas. Even getting the Jarvan, which is a standard jungler, something Crumbs kind of likes going back to if he's on the tanky junglers, it works. Kiwi Kid and Scar are going to both be on assassin-type champions with the frontline they've already been able to create. It's a bit of a comfort level for Dignitas here.
Okay, so here we go. Dignitas lineup is here. The lock-in goes in for elimination. It's going to be Zyra, actually. So a lot of crowd control here from the Cloud9 lineup. And if they can line them up into a nice little row, Twitch kind of a field day there.
Just spray and pray his way to victory with their 90% win rate. So this is another combination of the Cloud9 bottom lanes we've seen, because initially it was just the Zyra Ashe that we saw, and we thought it was all about chaining the root into the arrow into the Zyra ult. And then we saw Ashe Thresh. It wasn't quite as good, but they still won the game. You take out Ashe, it still puts them with Zyra. So at least Cloud9 is broadcasting here that they like Zyra and Ashe individually as picks, not just as a combo. And I want to see if this works out just as well, or if they're forcing themselves into the Zyra pick.
And what's interesting, too, is just, you talked about how the fact that they're picking individual champions that are very, very similar, that even though the team comp is a bit of a new look, because, the same 5 parts haven't been together, I want to see how it works out, though, because we typically see them early game aggression, you get good dives going on, you get good team fights out of it, and we'll see if that's in the workings here for the Cloud9 group. But, of course, Dignitas, as you mentioned, on a good number of comfort picks themselves as well, champions they're used to. Specifically,
it seems like Dignitas is prepared better for this pick and ban phase than they did for a lot of their pick and ban phases last week. It's been a big struggle for them as they've starting with the Dorn Shield and just going for the mid-game roam. You need your captain of your team to be comfortable in these games, and that's why Scar, I think, keeps going over to Kassadin.
So here we go, guys. Into the Rift we go. Dignitas in the bottom left corner, Cloud9 on the red trunks in the top right. And just so you guys know, once again, Dignitas tied for 5th place right here, but they're just 1 game behind the 3rd place tie. And of course, if they can keep winning and get themselves in the top 2, Cloud9 get a win here, and they guaranteed top 2 by the end of the regular season. So you mentioned actually about Skara coming down into the opposing jungles. This will help the teams spot lane swaps. I think that's one of the important things that teams try to look for in their level 1s here. So we'll see who gets the better of the lane matchups. A minute in, and Dignitas starting to get back into their own jungle, but Cloud9 still looking aggressive.
A lot of these games can swing a little bit on level 1, and Cloud9, I think, important game, because even though these games are super important for Dignitas,
it was a little bit off. There's a clip from one of the CLG scrims where Double Lift rocket jumps over a wall. It's a buster shot, like an enemy jungler into his team just to initiate a fight, and then flashes back over.
And it worked really well.
Yeah, it was great.
Because at least for Cloud9, they need to be able to diversify themselves as they move towards the even North American playoffs and then Worlds.
So here we go. Skara is going to be heads up against Hot top lane as well, that the lane setup here for Cloud9 will allow them to support Zac if he does get jumped on right here. So it looks like a pretty successful, well, I should say safe and standard-ish level 1 setup here. The buffs going on both sides. Skara, though, he's being pushed into his lane right now, and we want to see if he can keep up and farm.
against I'm a Cutie Pie in the bottom lane, it was more dangerous for him, regardless of where the jungle was, to go to his own blue because there's a chance that was going to get stolen.
And of course, now we have the other big decision point here of where the junglers go, and it's going to be a 3v2 lane top right here. So Cloud9 trying to get the pressure down because point here of where the junglers go, and it's going to be a 3v2 lane top right here. So Cloud9 trying to get the pressure down because poor Balls is alone on the right-hand side. So if Crumbs and Kiwi can get right between turret shots, so Cutie Pie safe there, putting pressure on that turret. Of course, Patoy also fearing Balls under the turret prevented much counterattack.
And here's another quick decision from Meteos. He spent one wave up top, knowing Crumbs is there to counter push, and immediately he comes down to help out Balls here. They recognized that Balls was going to lose that turret sooner rather than later, and they don't want a huge turret discrepancy to build up against them. Additionally, there's these 2v2 fights that can happen.
And Sneaky down to 1/3 health, flashing away. Ignite is burning on him. It might not be.
That Balls was going to lose that turret sooner rather than later, and they don't want a huge turret, which is what these have turned into, has been more successful thus far than what Balls and Meteos have done to Cutie Pie and Patoy.
And that's very good for them. You're seeing the gold league so far stick equal, despite we talked about that mid lane match being so rough. A 14 minion kill deficit for Skara. High Friend has Red Elixir to do that, but again, build a big lead, taken without answer.
That's something about Cutie Pie, though. He still had his flash. He was rather confident that he wasn't going to die in that lane, and that actually takes a very high amount of game awareness to be able to save your flash in that situation. Back and forth, that is a good trade by Dig, as they're playing this early game quite well.
They are, absolutely. So here we go. Crumbs still putting the pressure on a Sneaky. He has not left that lane for a while. Of course, neither has Meteos down on the bottom. Now looking to recall, but I feel like Sneaky's playing with fire there. He was waiting right in front of that brush, just that elimination was coming.
He's just trying to get a bit of an advantage in that lane since technically they're in the 2v1. I think this game is really going to start swinging based on what High and Skara can pull off here in the mid lane, because they are both...
I feel like it's a fairly common summoner spell for these guys. Actually, High, he's got
there
he goes in on Skara. He misses the Qs, gets knocked up, has to flash away, just enough damage with the death mark, gets out of that one with 100 health.
That was the very dangerous risk that Skara was sitting on. As soon as High hits 6, there's no reason to stick around before you've built substantial amounts of armor or have a counterplay to that. It was death as soon as he hit 6.
And Cutie Pie knocked at the end of the air, trying to dash away, still has the flash from last time, pops it right there, but there comes the Cloud9 attack. 2 kills to 1, nice pickup.
He got a little too safe with that flash right there, and it ended up costing him.
And here comes Crumbs around the back, though. Sneaky elimination, this could be rough. Kiwi Kid is right there. Lemon gets knocked up into the air, goes down to Crumbs, and now it's Sneaky who's caught without flash, stuck in the Cataclysm. Kiwi Kid just putting down auto attacks, and Sneaky goes in for the damage of it, will not find enough. Out flash, stuck in the Cataclysm. Kiwi Kid just putting down auto attacks, and Sneaky goes in for the damage of it, will not find enough. 2 kills picked up for Dignitas, action everywhere.
That was a nice bait from Ash, and they're not quite in sync yet with their objectives. They went too far in that fight, and then you could see they had nothing left to escape once Crumbs came in after Kiwi Kid's bait.
And I've got to say, Crumbs has made every single kill happen so far for his team. You see that they are 3 kills in the lineup, and Crumbs is 1-0-2. Actually, I suppose to be fair, Kiwi Kid as well. So every kill is just kind of happening between those two guys. They're making Dignitas work right now. But
what's really funny about this is Cloud9's up in gold. They're up 1 turret to 0, and at least for now, Balls is keeping I'm a Cutie Pie and Patoy at bay in that lane. So until Dignitas can get one of these turrets back, even though it seems like they played this early game tremendously.
Down Sneaky is having a better game than Cutie Pie. But also it's High who's holding up a minion lead as well. So you've got the mid laner and AD carry for Cloud9. The top laner for Dignitas, though, you've got interesting matchups here.
And I think we're going to start seeing some movement towards the Dragon here, since Lemon has left Sneaky up to farm, as well as a fight in mid.
Oh, and the standing unit comes up to try to save High. Will it be enough? The death bar comes across, but the kill's been traded. But there comes Meteos. Kiwi Kid caught up right there. 400 gold for the shutdown. Thank you very much for Shen. But Dignitas turned back for a turret.
You know what, though? Since Sneaky was the whole time pushing in the top lane, and that was a 2-for-1.
Oh, and the standing unit comes up to try to save High. Will it be enough? The death bar comes across, but the kill's been traded. But there comes Meteos. Kiwi Kid caught up right there. 400.
So the reason I thought the Dragon was going to be happening is because it was a potential 5v4 in that sector of the map. But then Dignitas tried the kill on High, essentially overcommitted, and then gave up 2 kills, negating their chance at getting that Dragon for themselves. This is actually something that Dignitas has fallen prey to multiple times this season, where they will overcommit to kills and lose the overall picture of the game and miss out on objectives.
And speaking of overall picture, Cloud9 has pulled Sneaky down from the top.
Essentially overcommitted and then gave up 2 kills, negating their...
And the taunt miss right there, but the smite comes off from Medios. The team is regrouping. Only Crumbs is still to come in on this one. Balls is caught a little bit alone, does not have flash, has been stunned, has been feared. Kill picked up by Scar. Right? Ward comes down as well. That's another one right there. Kiwi Kid making the assassination happen in the back line. 4 members alive still for Dignitas, but only Medios and Balls are alive here.
Wow, so that was a whole bunch of kills for Dignitas as they chased through against Cloud9. Since at the Dragon, since Cloud9 was kind of sticking around, it seemed like some of them wanted to fight, but the rest of the team wanted to fall back. And that is not something you see from Cloud9 very frequently. Dignitas capitalized on that immediately, since Dignitas always goes for the kill, and it worked out great for them.
And I gotta give props to Skara too, using the Rift Box to get in range for his slows, helping them to actually seal those off right there. So good stuff by these guys. Lemonation still trying to hold on to the mid lane, and of course, the gold lead tied up here. Turret's tied up as well. Dignitas holding a kill lead versus Cloud9 minion kill lead.
Kiwi Kid with his 5 kills going towards that Elise powerhouse. 4,300 gold, top in the game by at least 700. Kiwi Kid's up and down season is going to be in a bit of an upswing after this game in that Elise. And then specifically, Balls' Shen build is something I wanted to point out as well, because he's went with the Spear Visage, which is been trending upwards for a lot of the Korean top laners. Shy and Flame have been picking that almost every game for the cooldown reduction on the Stand United specifically.
Oh, but the stun misses on a sneak, and they're going to go back in on the Kiwi Kid. Repels up into the air, goes back to the minion line. He's going to get out of that one, but Lemonation showed up just in time to save him.
Crumbs was definitely trying to bait that with Kiwi Kid, and that's actually one of the ways Kiwi Kid's picked up a lot of his kills, is with really strong Elise baiting sneak.
Goodbye, Lemon. You've just been soured out, but now Medios going in on a Scar a little bit. Nope, doesn't do too much with that one. They're just going to get control over the turret, but the minions are falling over. I don't think they'll get... Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was going to say Hai never got in range to ult Skara until now.
That's unfortunate right there. So Hai runs away from the fear of Fiddlesticks, otherwise safe, and that's actually 2 like just heads-up kills by Hai against Skara.
We kind of expected that when we recognized it was a Zed versus a Kassadin matchup. Kassadin doesn't do well in that matchup. Skara's picked him for the team utility.
He was picking that one up without smite even, so just managing to last hit that with his abilities. So, man, we keep having kills all over the place. We got 15 kills in just under 14 minutes.
It's a bit of a bloodbath.
Pretty big bloodbath right here. And Kiwi Kid, I feel like Sneaky should be afraid of this one. Spider's gonna have a good time against Rats, especially when Jarvan shows up here. Sneaky taking some poke under the turret, trying to last hit, but I feel like this is constantly Dignitas' sort of like place where they look for kills.
Yeah, and that's all Dignitas
is sort of like place where they look for kills.
Yeah, and that's all Dignitas is doing this game, actually. They've fallen behind not only in golden objectives.
Not have much of anywhere to go. Ball's going to keep moving forward, does as much damage as he can. Couple more attacks to go. No, a double knockup from Crumbs right there. Now can he walk away? The flash taunt! Balls gets it shut down there on a Kiwi Kid. Second death of the game for him. And here's the Let's Bounce. Crumbs does knockup from Crumbs right there. Now can he walk away? The flash taunt! Balls gets it shut down there on a Kiwi Kid. Second death of the game for him. And here's the Let's Bounce. Crumbs does not have flash. He has very few places to go. Flag toss does not get to Q over against Kiwi Kids. So some fortune kind of smiling on Cloud9 right here that their big tank can actually deal with the crazy Spider Assassin. And I mean, Balls is split pushing very deep in enemy territory.
And what he's laning against right now, which is AmaCutiePie's AD carry, is the only thing he hasn't built resistances against. And even with that, he's doing a pretty good job bullying AmaCutiePie. And got a level on Scar. Sneaky's got a level on AmaCutiePie. And it's just, everyone on Cloud9, you get like 500 to 700 gold in stats for a level. So it's not just the 2,000 gold Cloud9's up, it's more like 4.
Oh, almost knocks up on a Kiwi Kid right here. Media's gonna try to bully out with the level advantage. Hai coming into range as well, puts the Q down. There's the ult on the Kiwi Kid. The flash, not gonna be enough to keep him alive. Yeah, Repel doesn't dodge that one.
It was a nice try. You were like...
It's for Crumbs and Patoy making that one happen. Double buff onto Crumbs. However, Cloud9 has put the pink ward down. They're taking Dragon and the lower turret for this.
Yeah, Cloud9 is succeeding amongst the chaos of this game. 21 kills in 17 minutes is an absurd pace, and it's actually a Dignitas pace for games that they do well in, but Cloud9 is keeping up just fine.
They're definitely kings of fast games. I mean, even dating back to the qualifier match. Right here, kill picked up there for AmaCutiePie. AD carry getting kills is nice, and they're still pushing, but there's defenders top lane.
Yeah, that's as far as that one's going to go, because the kill on Hai is exactly what pulled Cloud9 back towards their base. This is still a very interesting game, even though I like Cloud9's chances, just based on how cohesive they usually play as a team, being able to keep up with all the assassination backline approach from Dignitas.
And it's worth pointing out that of their slightly over 2,000 gold lead, almost all that is from the dragons they've controlled. That if you discount those, these sort of it accumulates gold and experience for the team, and that's all nice, but as far as every other objective is concerned, they're still holding very, very true here.
Yeah, it's also the minion farm that Cloud9's been able to overtake Dignitas on. We knew that Dignitas picked up some bad lane matchups. There's no way Scar was going to keep up with High. That's why we see it's 40 more minion kills for High over Skara. And then also, we know how well Meteos farms, and he's outpacing, at least in farm, Crumbs.
He absolutely is right here. So now it's determined, or now it's really the time for Dignitas to figure out who gets the rest of this farm here. As the outer turrets fall, you have kind of longer lanes. You have a little bit more time to focus on some minion kills right here. And we had seen Scar in the bottom lane for a while. Now it's actually Cutie Pie on the top side of the map, taking a bunch of farm for himself. And it's Cloud9 looking for balls with a split push.
Yeah, it's also the minion farm, the Cloud.
Seen Scar in the bottom lane for a while. Now it's actually Cutie Pie on the top side of the map, taking a bunch of farm for himself. And it's Cloud9 looking for balls with a split push with Stand United up.
And at least for now, it doesn't look like Dignitas has a good answer for ball split push. A 4-1.
Flashes back, still has turret aggro though, and that's gonna force Dignitas away. His health bar is so low. Can they turn onto this one? No, Riftlock gets him out, but they catch on to Patoy. That's a kill picked up. The flash jump in from High. Oh, Kiwi Kid, great mechanics right there, getting over the wall and out, but one kill for nothing.
Slippery escape there by Kiwi Kid, but that's exactly why Cloud9 picked Zyra to turn those dives around. As soon as Dignitas came in, they stalled them long enough for High to collapse down from the top lane and Balls to come in with his ultimate as well, completely turning around that aggression by Dignitas.
And they get a turret for it. Great job by Cloud9, making a kill turn into a global objective. We've now seen 4 of them.
Through the mid lane, still just trying to get kills back. That's the way Dignitas tries to come back in these games. They look at a person and they just go on them. That's the Kassadin style in a lot of these games, and they might just go for another dive in mid lane with another collapse coming in from Cloud9's High.
But High's on top of a ward, he doesn't know it right there. He does see that Patoy's lurking around. But here comes the engage anyway. They look on a Kiwi Kid right there. Cutie Pie on the backhand side. Meteos tries to knock him into the air. Kiwi Kid has to rappel up into the air. There's High though, getting caught out, feared, and just dropped right down. Now here comes the rest. Cutie Pie forced her for a while. Just a 1-for-1.
Just a 1-for-1 is right, because that fight had a lot more chaos than merits just one kill on each side. The teams actually disengaged fairly smoothly from one another. Skara just doesn't have the items yet to have the Kassadin punch that he really needs, because High's been holding him down well in lane. If Skara actually gets going a little bit more and picks up specifically some Magic Pen to go with all the mana and close to ability power he's picking up here, Sneaky's not going to be a factor later on in this game.
That's a good point. So we'll see if they can defend him. I mean, all they've got is what the ball shield. That's like the only thing they can do to keep him alive against Skara. So you're right about that lane matchup being really powerful for them. Of course, the Runic Bulwark has at least come out for Meteos, so that's at least passively helped them survive in these battles to be powerful again. Let's see where these guys go next, because Balls has his ultimate back up and is back to that split push. So again, Dignitas, as we said last time, didn't have much of an answer for it except for diving mid.
Specifically, Balls, because of that Spear Visage that he built, the 20% CDR, has had to stand united up much more frequently than most Shens, which is giving Cloud9 the freedom to roam around his 4 and feel pretty safe here. And Dignitas is at least able to clear out their stuff before Cloud9 can steal it.
I like, though, how well Cloud9 are warding as they run through the jungle. They're checking a lot of things. They've got the Oracles there on Elimination. He's putting down plants a lot to check over walls and see if someone's lurking around, who's clearing out wards, who could be ambushing us. So Lemon really helping to make this Vision game work for them. I like that a lot.
And it's specifically a very difficult game for Lemon Nation. He has died a lot. He was the lowest level in the game for quite a while. Still only level 9, 22 minutes in. He's a pinata at this point.
Out from this one, Patoy, though, wearing his own Oracles, lurking a bit in the shadows, might be finding an engage.
Yeah, and speaking of shadows, High's trying to sneak through a little bit right now. I think if Dignitas overcommits once again, High is in the perfect flank position that he wants to be, and this is going to make the Dragon a potentially scary game for Dignitas right now. And from Cloud9, 3 for 0 plus a Dragon, because they just went as soon as Dignitas made a somewhat questionable decision. This gold lead is getting a little bit out of hand now, Freak.
And the third Dragon as well was picked up right there, so half the gold lead comes from that, half of that comes from their turret control and everything else. They're actually running right towards Barrett. They're still death timers for Dignitas. This could be theirs.
And this is a game sense. This seems to be what happens in all the Cloud9 games. A lot of these recent ones, in the first 10 or 12 minutes or so, you're saying, all right, this is close. Maybe this team's going to give Cloud9 a run for their money. They're getting a lot of kills. You know, even Dignitas has taken down 3 turrets. But then you look up again at 25 minutes and you say, how did that 7,000 gold lead just happen?
Yeah.
It's because they could. And from here, I really wonder what Dignitas will do, since their strat this whole game has been find Cloud9, kill Cloud9.
Yeah.
That doesn't work anymore. Cloud9's gotten too much gold, and they're wearing a Baron buff. Find Cloud9 means die to Cloud9 right now. So hide and go seek maybe. Cloud9's probably
a minor advantage there. However, no one is responding to hide. That Zed split pushing on the side. Dignitas might look for a 5v4 here. This could be their best chance to make some moves.
I actually think Cloud9 might try to initiate a little bit on Dignitas. Here, since they know Hai is making so much progress in the other lanes.
He's certainly getting that turret down quickly. Down below 1/4, a few attacks to go, and that is his, which will just continue to elevate this gold lead. Now 5-4 happen.
That was a nice save by Sneaky. You don't think of AD carry saving that much.
Oh!
Now it's just chasing down Dignitas.
And the spider gets squashed right there, even in her own web. And Cloud9, though, Sneaky gets found out right here. He's not sneaking around too much. Slow comes out, Ignite as well. Good shutdown there for Skara.
I'll give him that one.
They can give away kills. They can give an opening to Dignitas.
Unfortunately, though, I think at this point, Cloud9 has too strong of a tank line, and they already picked a relatively strong teamfight control composition where they might just group up. Cloud9 might not really need to split push anymore, since they're almost on the inhibitor level turrets at this point, have enough gold and enough armor on Meteos, who just finished that Locket of the Iron Solari. By the way, we're still on the 3.9 patch, so both those items still exist. They no longer build, they don't build into each other anymore on live. But yeah, Cloud9 is probably going to group up and potentially just dive Dignitas, since they know Dignitas wants to scatter and not straight up team fight.
So here we go then, the red buff being grabbed by Cloud9. They're looking to take all those objectives, all the advantages. Oh, they're just gonna pick up Scar instead.
For Hai, if he could have gotten the kill and escaped, absolutely, but now a 4v4 on a turret is actually much worse than a straight up 5v5.
There we go, Kiwi's gonna find Meteos as well, puts some damage onto him, but the Fed Elise kind of does some of Meteos' health, and Zac survives anyways. That's not a good sign. And Cloud9 actually find ways to go into the mid lane. That turret goes down, and the team sneaks out.
Solid movement across the board by Cloud9. Sneaky's build's very interesting to me as well. Just Blade of the Ruined King, Last Whisper, Static Shiv. You usually see a Bloodthirster or an Infinity Edge at some point on Twitch, but because they're just roaming around, and Sneaky is just kind of popping in every game, because he feels like the stats are close enough to Phantom Dancer that the surprise factor and the utility you gain from the wave clear are superior in every way.
Okay, and of course he never gets farm anyway, so if he can like steal some with lightning, then he feels better about himself.
Yeah, get a little bit faster.
Here we go for the jump back in on Ascar. Has got nowhere to go. This Kassadin burning down. Takes him down with the death mark as well, but the team fight has gone in.
No.
There comes Sneaky from the side. Kill picked up on a Kiwi Kid, 2-0 so far. Crumbs Shirelia's popped out because Crumbs have anywhere to go right now. He does not. Taunt comes out. Double kill for Hai. Great team fight for Cloud9.
Yeah, Dignitas got a little bit too far from home there, and it allowed Cloud9 to jump onto Dignitas for the team fight without having the danger of any turrets. This could be the next breaking point for
available. Baron's up in a minute. We'll see what Cloud9 goes for in the next few seconds. It's going to be a backdoor onto this top turret, and Hai is coming in with a fresh minion wave. This will be a little bit close to see if they can stay for the inhibitor or if they back out after this.
Cloud9 just has two people that don't take damage right now with Balls and Meteos. It's gotten to a point where Balls has actually built the Blade of the Ruined King on Shen. Let's see if they fight him off here.
Well, they find Hai, and Hai goes down right there. Can they get the rest of the team fight now? Is the chase available? Zyro comes off, knocks up almost everyone from Dignitas. That disengage was crucial for elimination. Disengage was crucial for elimination.
Yeah, that's the reason they pick Zyra against these teams. Stop Dignitas from being able to chase.
Thing here. Problem is Cutie Pie's bottom in Poitoisin base.
It was a nice thought.
Yeah, I was like, hey, maybe.
Yeah, that was a nice thought. But now I'm a Cutie Pies taking the dragon, trying to inch the gold lead back, and there's a very outside chance that Dignitas would be able to make a comeback here. But just based on the way this game's been going for the last 15 minutes, Cloud9 has been in complete control.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see right there the attack speed slow hurt. I did know, actually.
Yeah, and the true damage.
Yes.
It no longer interrupts recall. That was a change that happened like 6 months ago.
Which was so good. Last time they got it was after a team fight win, so they're not just trying to sneak the Baron out. They're actually looking for maybe a team fight first.
One huge benefit that Dignitas had when they pushed Cloud9 out of their base is it allowed them to set up wards around this Baron area. So it actually makes the Baron not uncontested by Cloud9. If Dignitas wants to try something creative here, there's a very low chance this works, but they're going to try.
They're going to go all in. Crowstorm by as well. The fear on elimination. He's going to get his DPS combo off now. And here we go. One kill picked up and traded back as Caston falls over high, low on health. Catches the attack. Good flash there, dodges the knockup. Cutie-Pie is around, stun off on the balls, but he's not the target they want to go for. But Toy is around. Taunt comes off on a Crumbs. Crumbs not in the best place right there. Jumps away. And here we go. The chase still on. Medios walking forward, gets feared, but he has tenacity. Doesn't get feared for long. High comes in, flash forced by Cutie-Pie. They're still chasing.
How many flashes do these guys have? Every skill shot seems to get dodged at the last possible second.
I
think they ran out. They ran out of flashes.
I think they ran out of flashes. Knock up though onto High. He doesn't have flash. 2 for 1 though still for Cloud9. And the chase continues. Medios, he's going to go for the Let's Bounce. They find pass it into wave clear. He had a problem killing minions at the beginning of the game. He's going to have a problem killing him now. This is going to be GG. Great win picked up by Cloud9. And with this win, they guarantee themselves a top 2 finish in the season. And they get themselves a bye in the first week of the playoffs. But hey, they still got 7 games to go.
Cloud9 is just so dominant. I feel like Dignitas actually approached Cloud9 in a very smart way in the pick and ban phase. But like always, Cloud9 just took it in stride. They still picked this champions because their champion pool is so large, and they were still able to play the same style. A little bit of a trip up.
Moves. They had some rough lanes, and that was well done by Cloud9. But I like their early game movements. Now, of course, this moves Dig down to 6th. They're actually now very, very close to Curse. They're between Curse and Coast now in the standings.
All of these games for that middle of the pack between 3rd and 7th are so important. And I think they're all looking at their schedule right now and saying, all right, how many games do we have left against Cloud9? Crap. You know, they don't want to play Cloud9 because those are the ones they keep losing to. Kiwi Kid had a chance in that game to really make something happen when he started 6-1. But then he ended the game 7-8, so it was just not what happened in that game. Cloud9 had an answer.
Yeah, so aside from a couple of good team fights, good job by Cloud9, and they took that one home. So guys, we've got to take a short break, but when we return, we'll be joined by Cloud9's Medios to talk about their win, earning a first-round bye in the playoffs.
All right, welcome back everyone to week 8 of the North American LCS. I'm joined by Medios from Cloud9 here today. Congratulations on your guys' win that you just got. You've actually now, with that win, just locked up top 2 in North America, so you're in Season 4 now. Do you feel much better?
Yeah, it's a pretty huge relief. In the beginning of the season, there's always relegation and stuff to think about because, you know, the way we got into LCS was through relegation, so it would be really stressful going into that from the LCS side, and being top 2 is just, it's a huge relief.
So now that you're guaranteed a bye in the playoffs also, are you guys going to use the remainder of the regular season LCS games more freely with your champions? Are you going to try anything new now, or are you just going to use it how you have been?
I would like to try some new stuff, but I think my teammates are tryhards, and they're not going to let us do that.
Is there ever a thing where you don't want to try your new stuff in the LCS because you don't want to show your hand?
We have a few things that we've never run in LCS that we still have in our back pocket. Not necessarily to hide it, but just in case we need to run it. So we might bring it out if we have to, but I'll just see how the drafts go for the rest of the season.
Okay, well, so in this game that you guys just played, it's a little bit more of a tanky composition than we've seen from you guys in the past. Was there anything specific that went into having both a tanky jungler and a tanky solo laner?
There wasn't, we didn't go into it with that plan, but they banned Nasus, so I really wanted to get Zac that game because those are my most comfortable junglers, obviously, because I play him a lot. And then Rumble was banned, who's Ball's most comfortable champion, so he just wanted to play Shen randomly. He goes through sort of bipolar phases with Shen. He really loves him one day and then really hates him the next day, so today he wanted to play him, and so we had him play Shen, and it went really well for us.
Yeah, today was definitely a good day for Balls on Shen. It was not so good for Sneaky and Lemon Nation up there in the top lane. Banning out the Ashe seemed like it did put them out of their comfort zone, and they also got camped a lot. Do you want to go into any further explanation?
Well, it turned into a 2v2 lane, which we didn't expect. I guess we didn't have enough words in the beginning of the game, and we thought they would go for a dive, which is why I also went for a dive top. But then they ended up defending, so we were a little behind in the beginning. So they lost a little bit of XP to me, which I guess made the lane harder for them. And Twitch, Zyra is really not a good 2v2 lane against Jarvan and Elise. That's probably about the strongest 2v2 you can have as far as a top laner and jungler. So it was a really hard lane for them, and they did get a little bit behind early, but they did their best to farm up and not get too behind. And then me and Balls were able to snowball bot a little bit, and we came out about even in the laning phase.
With you guys running so much Ash Zyra, do you think maybe your duo lane got a little too reliant on the vision that's awarded from having the seedlings and the hawk shot, or was it just a coincidence of the 2 versus 2, like you said?
I don't think we're too reliant on certain heroes. We play a lot of different stuff in scrims, and it just so happens our last LCS matches we played Ash a lot. But now, if it's going to be banned, we'll obviously have to play different champions. And I don't think it's a huge issue. I think they just misplayed a little bit.
Well, yeah, you guys were fine. You said earlier in interviews that if someone on your team is having a hard time, then the other guys will just pick up the extra weight and they'll be the ones to carry. It looked like Hai was on a mission going after Scar every single time. What's with his fascination with just 100%ing Scar every time?
Well, Caston's a really huge snowball champ, so we wanted to shut him down as much as we could. And Hai's a really good Zed, so we thought if we could send Zed against Caston, it would do really well. And Hai did a really good job of shutting him down.
All right, well, congratulations again to you guys for the win and locking up top 2.